GIS. The time has gone 5 minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock, and it's a very good evening to you. Welcome to it. It is our special broadcast, and it's brought to you courtesy of Government Communication and Information System, together with the Department of Home Affairs. The name is Karabo Lance Storana Saba Pedil Matavele Tabela Walwena Mutelechi. We'll be together all the way up until 5 to 7 o'clock this evening with Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, the Minister of Home Affairs. Very delighted to have him back in the studio. I think the last time I had the Minister in the studio, it was about 2 years ago, and I could see Minister is very comfortable in terms of walking into the studio. He knows his way around, and I'm very excited that he can still remember this place. It's a very good evening to you, Minister. Thank you so much for your time, for being here this evening.
Thank you, Karabo, and thank you to the listeners out there.
All right. So we're going to be unpacking the Department of Home Affairs budget vote that had happened earlier today. It was a very interesting one. In fact, I had a privilege of sitting in and listening in to the delivery of the budget vote coming from the Department of Home Affairs. Quite interesting stuff that came out of that delivery, and Minister is going to be helping us unpack some of those. Minister, here you are. The last time you were here, as I said, was about 2 years ago. And this time around, you come back as the Minister of Home Affairs. I think the last time I had you in the studio, you were the Minister of Health. So this time around, we're talking, we're doing a runabout 10. We're moving from health, and now we're going to one of the most important, what I would like to believe is a department in South Africa, as you've mentioned in the opening remarks of your statement this morning. It was very interesting, the picture that you've painted, Minister. Picture when somebody gets born, the department is the first one to be there. Would you like to take the listener in terms of how you've explained it as you delivered your state of the
yes, indeed,
budget vote?
Indeed, it's because Home Affairs have got two main arms. It's the civic arm and the immigration arm. But quite often when you listen, especially in the media, people seem to be thinking Home Affairs is about immigration and immigration only. When actually the biggest arm of Home Affairs is the civic, because once you are living within the borders of the Republic of South Africa, you need Home Affairs services at least for a minimum of 4 times within your lifetime. Mm-hmm. When you arrive in this world via the Republic of South Africa, Home Affairs in the Republic of South Africa has to record that you arrived and even give you a document.
Yes.
That's a birth certificate, which shows who's your mother, who's your father, and where were you born, at what time, and all. It shows all those things. Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, thereafter, you're going to need an ID when you turn 16 in order to interact with the state,
yes,
the corporate world, and even with other South Africans. You need that. That's an ID. Then you are going to need Home Affairs again if you decide to get married. And lastly, when you depart this planet forever, never to come back, you need Home Affairs to record it that now you're gone. You have left forever. Mm-hmm. And the issue, what you call a death certificate. You might like to visit other countries, as most of us do. Yeah. Then you need a passport. So all those is Home Affairs. What I'm trying to show is that in some departments, you interact with them because you need something at that particular time, and that's all.
Yes.
So I was showing that Home Affairs, you need it at least a minimum of 4 times throughout your own life if you want to live a balanced, productive, problem-free life.
Right.
So that's exactly how I explained it. Now, the second arm is immigration. I'm sure everybody knows about immigration. How do you document people who are coming to this country from other countries? How do you give visas? How do you issue passports and all that?
Mm-hmm. Now, Minister, what captured my attention was the theme for this year, which is building a world-class Home Affairs. Now, I'm sure I'm not the only person that's attention was captured by this. Just take us through that theme in terms of what the department is trying to achieve, focusing on a theme like that one.
Well, you remember that in the past, one of the daily papers had a page which called Horror Affairs. Where they were documenting everything that's going wrong in Home Affairs.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure you'll agree with me that the department has changed dramatically in many ways than one. For instance, it used to take about 6 months to get your passport or even ID, even more than that. Now, with a passport and a smart ID, our standard is now 13 days. You can get it within 13 working days from the day you apply. I was telling members of parliament, we brought trucks here. There were 2 mobile trucks.
Outside here?
Yes. Representing both 2 arms of Home Affairs. There
Yes.
was one written Immigration Affairs,
Yes.
and there's another one written Civic Matters, where people could apply for an ID or a passport.
On site?
Yes, on site, they were applying. I was asked by the chief whip to bring members of parliament. Now I said, because members of parliament are a small group in a small confined space, I'm going to give them those IDs within 48 hours, which is on Friday. We'll be delivering them.
Wow.
Yes. Either a passport or
a smart ID.
Yeah. That
Minister,
never used to happen in the
no,
past.
absolutely not.
So that is
Absolutely
building a
not.
first-class Home Affairs. You may remember that the president also spoke about world-class visa. You know, that visas for people from other countries to visit South Africa. And you know the importance of having tourists visiting your country.
Yes.
It creates jobs.
Absolutely.
But many people have complained about not having an easy access to South Africa because they've got to apply for a visa where lots of documents are needed from them. Out of 193 countries that are falling under United Nations, 75 have got a visa-free regime to South Africa. They can come to South Africa for up to 90 days without applying for any visa.
Yeah.
That's not enough. So today I mentioned 6 extra countries which will have no visas when they want to come
That are
in.
being added to the ones that have been existing.
Yes,
yeah.
that are added to, it's
That's
Qatar,
wonderful. Yeah.
it's Saudi Arabia,
Oh, wow.
it's United Arab Emirates, it's New Zealand, it's Cuba, it's Sao Tome and Principe, is Ghana. Actually, I added 7. And then I announced that there are 3 countries in this world whose combined population make up 30% of the world. That's China, India, and Nigeria. If you add them together, it will give you about 30% of the world.
Yeah.
And I was saying we're still doing our homework there, but what I announced today is that we are going to increase the staff in those countries that process visas 2.5 times. You know.
That is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, we're going to increase the staff 2.5 times to make sure that they issue visas very urgently. But now, the president, in the 2 State of the Nation address, in both February and now in June, announced a world-class visa regime, meaning those countries where visas are still applicable before they come to South Africa. Let it be world-class. And what did he mean? He meant what you call an e-visa, which we are busy testing at Lanseria
I heard that.
International Airport. Yes.
Yes.
It's where you don't have to go to Home Affairs. You just sit and you apply online.
Online.
Yes.
You get approval
And
online.
the risk is, yes, you get an approval online, and if you get it, the approval, you are sent an email.
Can you believe it?
Wherever, in whatever part of the world, you just grab that email, rush to your nearest airport,
And
and
you
show them
present
the
that.
email. Yeah, and then you get into the plane and you come to South Africa.
Talking about the basics of the 4th Industrial Revolution,
Yes.
which is something we're going to talk about coming up. 0800 314 446. That's 0800 314 446. We're also available on YouTube and Twitter. You can search for the Department of Home Affairs on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, I beg your pardon. And you can also search Government ZA on Facebook and YouTube. We're available there. This is streaming live on those 2 platforms, and we're very delighted to have you with us. What I would like you to do, though, as a listener, wherever you are, is to interact with us on those platforms, right? So the 0800 314 446 number, it's a toll-free number. remember, if it le gore mohlomongwe o berekisha mogala wa gago wa ka mo ntlong le ka re letšetša go be le ka se patele selo because nomoro eo ke mphiwa fela, but ge e le gore mohlomongwe o motho wa di-YouTube le motho wa di-Twitter le motho wa di-Facebook jalo o ka ya mo Facebookong ya gago wa tla o lebelela mola, press your comments there and put your comments, and then the entertainer here in the studio, Minister, would be very delighted to have you interact with us. So use those three platforms as you may. Minister, let's move on now and talk about now some of the things that are happening within the Department of Home Affairs that people don't even or are not even aware of. We might be in a privileged position working for the state, and we might be exposed to some of these information. But let's start with the one that we actually featured at this afternoon when we were interacting with our listeners on the 4 o'clock news bulletin, which was the rolling out of the live capture system. Babang Babatuk by Mathomo, this live capture system as part of their modernization, the Department of Home Affairs. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, what it means is that, as I said in the past, you apply for an ID or a passport, it takes a long time. But now, and you know the green barcoded ID, which we got after the elections.
Yes,
it can be forged, it can be defrauded, it can be impersonated. So the department decided in 2013 to bring a new type of ID, which is called a smart card.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a credit card,
yes,
or a driver's license, for that matter. A driver's license card, it's a smart card. Now, there are 412 Home Affairs offices inside South Africa. But the smart card, because it's so sophisticated, when you apply for it, you need particular equipment, connectivity, etc. So only 193 offices can offer that. So as your biometrics and everything is captured, it's like it goes directly to Home Affairs. It doesn't need to be packaged and all that. As you are applying and as they take your fingerprints and all that, it goes directly to Home Affairs Live, and the process. If there is no problem, then it goes live again to Government Printing Works, where all these things are printed,
yes.
And it gets printed same day. That's why I'm able to give it to 48 hours or 13 days. This 13 days is not because it takes us 13 days as soon as you apply for us to issue the ID. We issue it same day. The 13 days is because for security reasons, we don't want your ID to go all over.
Yes.
So we must package it, put it in the envelope, write your name and everything, look for a courier system which must courier it back to the office where you have applied. And that office must then send you an SMS to say your ID is ready. And you come and they are making sure that it's Karabo,
yes,
who applied for this ID and nobody else. Mm-hmm. That's where the 13 days come in. But I said members of parliament that can issue it within 48 hours. Because they are a small group in a confined small space, we can go and print them in the government printers in Pretoria. Instead of hiring a courier service, people come to Cape Town every day, especially working in parliament. They can package it in one packet, bring it here. We go to the speaker to give us a list of members of parliament, and you know them, you issue it.
Yeah.
You give them and say, here is your card.
Talk about being effective.
Yes.
Right.
Now, same as a passport. Our standard now is that 90% of the passports are issued within 13 working days.
Passports which are they're very complicated, if one may put it that way.
Yeah, but with this new system, there's no problem.
So I heard this afternoon, as you were mentioning. That's the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Harold Motsoaledi, with us this evening. I would like to invite you to please speak to us. Perhaps there's one or two things that you would like to interact with the Minister about. You're more than welcome to use our toll-free number. It's 0800 314 446, 0800 314 446. It's a toll-free from a landline. Also use our Facebook and YouTube accounts, Government ZA, that's the one, as well as the Department of Home Affairs is one. It's available on YouTube and Facebook. And there you can watch this proceeding as it goes live, and you can also interact with us by putting some of your comments there. I believe we've got the first call on the line. It's a very good evening to you, caller. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, my name is Grant.
Grant, thank you so much for being our first caller this evening. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Worcester, listening by Worcester FM.
Thank you so much, Vusta FM, for taking part in our program this evening. Your question or comment?
My comment to the Minister, good evening, Minister.
Good evening, Grant.
It is regarding, today was a very sad day. In Worcester, there was multiple explosions. I don't know if you've heard on the news that occurred today because of this and that, the other reason. But my question is, like today, I am wanting to, get a new ID. And the thing that puts me off when I listen to stories by people, they say you wait months for new ID. Is it true? And what is the process
of getting one?
And a new ID.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, Grant, do you have a green barcoded ID?
I had it, but I lost it now.
Okay, so your old one, your green one is lost.
I lost. I've only had green one. I've not had any new one. Only the old one, but it is gone now.
Okay, great stuff. All right, Grant, is that all that you have for us this evening?
Yes, I listen by the radio, ne?
Thanks, do that. Thank you so much for calling us in. 0800 314 446. That's 0800 314 116. It's a very good evening to you. Who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to Bujam Kome.
Bujam Kome.
Yebo.
Buja, thank you so much for calling. And you're calling from where?
I'm calling from KZN.
In KZN. Singakhuluma baba mawufuna ukukhuluma
yebo singakhuluma.
Go for it, basikhulume ke. Umbuzo wakuthi
apply ID. Sibela ngomhla ka-14 January 2019. Namanje angikaze ngiyithola.
Why applyela kuphi?
Ngiyapplyela kwaDukuza.
KwaDukuza ne? Bathini uke wababuza ukuthi na kwenzakalani nge-ID yakho nge-application yakho?
Mangibabuza bathi angifonele i-head office ePretoria.
Uke waya wababuza though.
Ngaya khona.
Wabuyela.
Ngaya khona bazama
waya
office ePretoria.
Waya kuphi kwaDukuza?
KwaDukuza he.
Bathi ufonele head office. Wayazi ni number bathi ufonele?
Inumber ngangifonela yebo ngiyayazi. Ngakunika yona manje.
Ngiyacela.
0800
yeah
800
601
yeah
601
190.
Bathini?
Uke wayifonela ke manje le number mabaqeda kuphi le number wayifonela?
Ngayifonela leyo number leyo.
Wathi wa?
Bathini?
Then bathi kuzomela ngilinde isikhathi amaviki awu2.
Mabuza ukuthi manje nithi ngime amaviki ayi2 kwenzakalani bakhe bakutshela ukuthi no sithi linda 2 weeks because kwenzakala 1 2 and 3 bakhe baku-explainela ukuthi kwenzakalani?
Hayi lutho ngihlezi ngithola explanation eyodwa ukuthi i-ID sakuprocess ayikabi correct
but basayiprocess ane okay mfowethu ngiyajabula ke ukuthi nawe wathatha isikhathi sakho ukusifonele ngizokucela ke umamele emsakazweni wakho mamela ke Buja ngicela uphe iproducer yethu inumber yakho uthi uyiphethe ngiyabonga ke mfowethu siza kufonela ke
ngicela ukunika i-reference number yale ID.
Oh yes
yeah.
You know what maybe ungayisho emoyeni le reference number. Let's keep it private, that reference number.
Ngizonika i-producer.
All right, i-producer yami ngicela ubamba ungabeki icingo lakho bazayithatha i-reference number yakho. Okay, thank you so much. All right, that's a Buja from KZN. Minister, let's deal with these two questions, including Buja's one. Let's start with, do we have another caller? I believe we have another caller. A very good evening to you, caller. Who am I speaking to? Caller, who am I speaking to? All right, I think uvulela umsakazo wakhe. Caller, good evening to you. Who am I speaking to? Ngikhuluma nobani? Yebo, ngikhuluma nobani?
Usibongile lo.
Sibongile, ngizocela mamela mfethu, mamela ngizocela please uvala umsakazo wakho. There's a big delay that's coming out of your radio. Masithetha kaloku. Uvalile?
Akavalanga
Akawuvalanga, Minister. Akawuvalanga. Sbo. Wabekucingo phansi. 0800 314 446. This is Amfonela Futi. Tell him to shut down his radio. Mfundo is dealing with our telecommunications on the other side. Is doing an incredible job. We really appreciate that. 0800 314 446. Available on Facebook and YouTube. Government ZA and as well as the Department of Home Affairs. Grant called in, Minister, and he says, it's been a sad day in Worcester, as we heard earlier this morning. As I walked out as well, going towards work this morning, I saw actually that explosion being covered by one of the television stations. Now, he wants to find out, he wants to get a new ID card. What is the process of getting one if you have lost one?
Yeah, indeed, Grant, we're very sorry about what we heard about Worcester. I heard it this morning as I was rushing very early in the morning to finalize preparation of my budget speech, so I couldn't see it because I was very busy. Yeah. But I read it on News 24. It sounds like it was something very sad.
It was, Minister, yeah.
Yes. Now, Grant had an ID, a green barcoded ID.
Correct.
Yes. We most of us got green barcoded IDs immediately on the dawn of democracy. Remember, there were Donbass. And there was a bus for Transkei, for Botswana.
Yes.
You know, the country was balkanized.
Yes.
Now we had to become one country. We get the green barcoded ID. Now, Home Affairs discovered that green barcoded ID can easily be forged or defrauded. So in 2013, the Department of Home Affairs decided to issue this smart ID card, which, as I said, looks like a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are 38 million South Africans who were calculated since 2013, who needed to switch over or migrate to the smart ID, and we've issued that to 13 million. We are left with 25 million because we can only issue 3 million per annum because you need special equipment, special offices, and I told you only 193 offices out of 12. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, when you go to switch over to a new barcoded ID, you have to pay 140 rand.
Yes.
But if you are taking an ID for the first time, like there are 16-year-olds who go to take ID for the first time,
yes,
it's free. But also, if you are over the age of 60, it's free. But if you have lost your ID,
or renewing, or getting a new one,
if you have lost it and you want to renew, you have to pay.
Yes.
Yes, that 140 rand. Now, I don't understand why Grant cannot get an ID now, or why they tell him he must wait for months. I think there must be something wrong in the manner in which he lost his. In the manner in which the ID was lost.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps Home Affairs would like to understand how the ID was lost, because they can't just issue. What if it's in the hands of criminals?
Correct,
yeah.
Yes.
So they need to make sure first, before they issue a new one, what happened to that lost one? Is it written off and all that?
Mm-hmm.
So I think Grant must give the numbers to
the producer. Okay.
Because I want to follow it up, I want to help him.
Yes.
Because ordinarily, our standards, when you apply for a barcoded ID, which I'm sure there must be an office in Worcester for that. Yes. Ordinarily, our standard is that it takes 13 days. Now, the issue of waiting for months, that's why I'm saying maybe it's him only. It might be people who go there, get it within 13 days, him, because his ID was lost. It's going to take this month while they are investigating what happened to this ID. But let him give that number.
All right.
I am assuring him he will be phoned, will find out what happened.
Right.
Yes.
Then, Minister, we move on to Buja, who's almost got a similar problem. Jan Chusha now, for that matter, because he says he's applied for his ID 14 January. Minister no, 13 days. That's what.
And I told you why it takes 13 days.
Yes.
The reason is that it has to be couriered back to the office where you have applied.
Correct.
But usually it gets printed within the same day, unless there is a specific problem that Buja has got. And that's why, because we got these numbers, we'll go and find what that specific problem is.
Okay.
Yes, and then, because this is out of our plans, 14 January up to now, It's 7 months.
It's 7 months down
yes,
the line.
Without an ID, that's not how we are doing things. There must be something very fishy here.
So, Minister, we'll definitely get to
that.
Yeah,
both of them
all right.
will follow up.
100%. Now, on Twitter, Minister, as I said earlier on, we've also got interaction on social media. On Twitter, we have received a message or a question from @Tsebzo. Tsebzo, thank you so much for listening in via Twitter, and we really appreciate it. Now, Tsebzo wants to find out, what about South Africans that are visiting those countries, Minister Lilenladi mentioned, those that will now be having visa-free.
Oh.
What about those countries? Does that mean, as South Africans, when we go to those countries, is this now going to be reciprocal? Now they will have a visa-free, and
unfortunately, we decided to split the issue of reciprocating. Yes, we split it from this. The DECO, our Department of International Development, usually demands that we give a visa-free regime to a country that can reciprocate.
Yeah,
we had to look at it differently because these things, international diplomacy is about interest of a particular country. Why are we giving visa-free regime? Because we want tourists to come to South Africa, want to build the economy, want to create employment. So we are the ones who want people from those countries to come here. I mean, let me be honest with you. The countries I spoke about is Qatar, the ones that we've added. Mm-hmm. The SADC countries are all, because they are neighbors. The ones I've added today is Qatar, Saudi Arabia, etc. We've got millionaires there who come to help us create jobs, who want to come here. They don't need us, but we need them. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah,
we need them. We need them to come here. But they don't need us to go to a country. They've got billions from oil. You know, these are oil-producing countries.
It's all about the economic transformation.
Yes, it's about economy. Let me give an example of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia told us straight that no, it's not that they are arrogant. That no, they can't issue visa-free to any country because millions and millions want to go to Mecca.
Oh, yes.
Every year. Yes, and they've got to guess who's there. I mean, they've got to get who is there.
Yeah.
Who is coming.
So it's security as well.
It's security, but also just the sheer numbers. They allocate people times and say, you come this year, the other one will come next year, the other one, even 5 years' time. You find that there's a person waiting in the country just to go to Mecca for 5 years, and the only control system to make sure that that person come on the time allocated is to issue a visa. Mm-hmm. If they give us a visa-free regime, it means everybody who's a Muslim who wants to go to South Africa will just wake up and go there.
Yeah.
Because it's visa-free, and that country cannot afford that. So they said, sorry, but we don't have a Mecca here. We want Saudi Arabians to come here and spend their money.
True.
Yes. Why don't we allow them to come freely? Because they've got no problem. Secondly, you also check about this issue of asylum. There's not a single person from that country who came to South Africa and say, I'm looking for asylum.
Right.
So what does that mean? It means when they come to visit and go back. And that's all. So what's the problem?
Yeah.
Yes.
0800 314 446, 0800 314 446. I believe we've got a caller on the line. It's a very good evening to you, caller.
Hi, Legai. How are you?
Ronald guy.
I'm not. Moremedi.
Moremedi.
Yeah.
Nice to hear from you, Moremedi.
Yeah. So,
thank you so much.
And then le gore motho a khone go nka monyetla wa go bua le minister wa rona ka phone.
It's Minister for the People. He would dira access it easier to reach him. Yeah.
Okay. I got this things every time. I'm a community leader, and then we normally have these things in our meetings where we looking at our government. Then we want to check now. I know Comrade Mtswaledi came now at a time where it's like control of the visitors, our foreign nationals in our country. It seems as if there was not maybe proper control, but now there is lots of things that are like happening in our country because of foreign nationals. And not that like I'm xenophobic, but now we feel like we want to hear from Comrade now the measures that are going to be in place to bring control in our foreign nationals that are with us. We know there are people who came here in a rightful way, but now what are other measures that they are going to put in place for now for lots of these people that are in our country? And the other thing is that I'm thinking that our resources here in our country, they are not that enough. Like if, for say, you are having 5 people in your house, then you are buying 10 rand electricity. Now you are having 10 people in your country or in your house. You have to increase your volume of electricity. So I think the other issues of our resources to be so less, not to accommodate us, or to get even the ESCOM falling and then they say there's a power failure, because our resources are so small. Now we are so many, and then we are having this challenge. And then, Comrade, I actually ask
I'm going to ask Moremedi, I'm going to ask you,
what are the other measures that they are going to put in place now to help us with the
all right. Okay.
Moremedi, community leader, Mogai.
I think Moremedi is gone, Minister.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah. Okay. 0800 314 446. What I'm going to ask you to do as a listener, if you call in, so that we can give other listeners a chance to call in as well. Just come in, get straight to the point, so that we can address your question. We've got another call on the line. Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening to you, Grant. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for calling in.
And good evening to the minister there.
Yeah, the
minister. Yes.
Minister, my name is Ashley Sauls. I am the president of the mega movement in Eldorado Park.
What's your name?
It's an acronym for Make Eldos Great Again.
Your name again? Your name again?
My name is Ashley Sauls.
Ashley Sauls from Eldorado Park.
That's correct, yes.
Right, go for it.
And I am the president of a social justice movement in Eldorado Park called Make Eldos Great Again. Right. I firstly want to say on record that we are very, very proud of our minister, and the fact that he says that the processes at the Department of Home Affairs is much more faster is actually true. We went on a fundraising campaign to send good young people from Eldorado Park to Washington, D.C. They're due to travel on Mandela Day, or Mandela's birthday. And we needed passports and visas, and we applied for passports, and in 1 week, all the kids got their passports. So I just want to put on record that what the minister is saying is actually true, that there is a difference in service. My question, Minister, we really need your help. We raised funds to help the kids go and get visas to travel to Washington, D.C. As you know, Eldorado Park always had a negative label on it, and this is the first time that good young people making good life choices has an opportunity to go abroad.
Right.
But now there's a moratorium put on visas in Joburg for them to get visas to the States. And so we are making a request to the U.S. consulate to sort of pull the interview date forward so that these kids are able to travel on Tata Madiba's birthday to the U.S. We want to know, is there a way that you can assist us to add more weight to this request to the U.S. consulate to help these kids travel to the U.S. next week, Thursday?
Okay. Minister, want to respond to that? You want to engage the listener? Hold on,
Fundo. Let me start with Ashley.
All right.
Yes. Unfortunately, Ashley. Yes. Well, let me not start by saying unfortunately.
Right.
We'll try our best.
Right.
We'll try our best to conduct, because we work well together with the U.S. Unfortunately, now I'm bringing the unfortunate part. A visa to another country is a sole prerogative of that country where you are going, because you are going to their country.
They determine
who must go into their country or not.
Right.
They decide who must come in. It's not us who can say, yes, this man must enter your country. So we will just beg them and ask why. But the truth is that the U.S. people don't need visas to come to South Africa, but we need visas to go there. Right. I told you again, because the world is not equal in strength.
Right.
Because we need them to come in. So we'll just go and find out and hope that we'll get an explanation, or they'll help those kids. We don't want their dreams to fall by the wayside. This is a big dream to go there. I know my own daughter went to the U.S. With a school trip about, people had performed very well. she couldn't sleep
Yeah.
for that whole week. And when she was waiting for a visa, oh my God, she was checking every hour, you know.
Goodness.
Yes. So
All right.
I know what these young people are feeling. I don't want them to lose out. So you can get details. We'll get the numbers there. And as you can see, we're enthusiastic. We gave them passports within a week. So the issue of visa is the U.S. government, but let's find out exactly.
Right, let's take another
Now,
caller quickly, Minister.
Muremedi.
Maybe before we go to Muremedi, there's another caller been instructed by the producer. The caller has been waiting for a bit too long. We're going to go back to those questions, though. Let's take Leslie from Northcliffe. Leslie?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself? Thank you so much for calling.
Thanks for the show, and thank you for having the minister there. I hope that issues from the past can be resolved. I'm in a bad situation because I've been applying to change my name to my father's name for almost 3 years now.
All right.
The first time I applied was in 2016. It takes about 8 months for the whole process to go through because they have to advertise at Government Gazette. And what I was doing is I was changing my name as well as my surname. My name, my first name to my second name, and my second name to my first name, and then my surname to my father's.
Right.
So what they did in Pretoria is that they just swapped the names and didn't change my surname after I had paid everything, even for the change of surname.
Right.
And so when it came back after 8 months, I had to go there and deal with it, and I made another application, 2016. In 2017, I made a second application, and that also came back in the records in Pretoria. They're saying that my surname has been changed, but my surname has not been changed. I got a new ID in the card, and I got a new license as I had applied. A new ID, and it came back with my mother's surname still. So I'm still Leslie Nkosi instead of me being Leslie Mate, which is my father's surname. I just decided maybe it's a sign God is saying you must just keep the surname that you've got. But it's been 2 applications, and I've paid twice. Nothing has happened.
All right. Thank you so much, Les, for calling in. We'll definitely jump onto that one and see how we can help you.
Okay.
All right, 0800 314 446. Have we got another caller? Good evening to you, caller. Who's on the line? Good evening to you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself? Who am I speaking to? Hello?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself? Who am I speaking to?
I'm good. You're speaking to Octavia from Cosmo City.
Octavia from Cosmo City. What is your question?
Okay, I would like to ask Minister, because I've got 2. It's like a friend of mine and my neighbor. And then I'll start with my neighbor because from 2017, she has like 4 kids. 2 of them, which is like the third one and fourth one, they got birth certificate, but the first, second, they actually get
the line is
that they can have ID number. I think they are like the other one is 16, the other one is 7.
Okay, Mfundo, let's terminate that line quickly. We're going to go back to it, maybe try to call it back. And that line is just poor. We really apologize for that. So that was Octavia. I've just got a little bit of what the problem might be, issues that's got to do with birth certificates. 4 kids, the first 2 are battling with having their birth certificates, where the third and the fourth born, they're not having those problems. They have birth certificates. So that's what I could get from her. Maybe let's deal with that. Let me throw in another question quickly. Looking at the time, I would like to get as many as I can in. This is coming from Twitter, and this is at Rayston007. It's a very easy one, Minister. You can answer it in one sentence, really. New Zealand, is it going to have are we going to let them have a visa-free access to South Africa? Exactly. There we go, Rayston. The answer is yes. We'll definitely do that. The Kang Smart, at Kang Smart from Twitter, wants to find out, they want a guide as to where to go to get their PR, as the 38 months that have applied for an ID has lapsed. 38 months, and she says the answer that she's getting from the officials is that there's a backlog. And quoting that, really. So let's go back to these questions, Minister, and we'll work our way backwards. Remedy for Sabakanyana. And then
yes. Remedy, to really answer him in short, is that we accept and we know that South Africa's borders are porous. I think the issue here is not about whether people must come to South Africa or not. The main issue is anybody who comes to your country must be documented. Like all of us are documented. You are aware that South Africans are documented in this year. So any person who comes, whether is a foreigner or a South African, we need to know who is here. They can be documented. So our biggest problem is that our borders are porous in South Africa. Yes, are porous. There's no control. There's no documentation. But it's not only about human beings, also about goods, the smuggling of goods, the smuggling of drugs, and the trafficking
human
of women, and human trafficking and all that. Yes, cars stolen in South Africa, they just easily cross the border. So because of that, we need a solution. The government then agreed, the cabinet agreed in 2013 to establish a structure called the BMA, the Border Management Authority. At the moment, the borders are managed by 7 different authorities. That's 7 different departments. So the Border Management Authority is going to make an authority under one roof, under one command, to deal with all these issues. That act has already been passed, that law. It has been passed in the National Assembly. Unfortunately, it was stuck in the NCOP for 2 years. We're going to unstuck it and go on to establish the border management and manage our borders accordingly. Now, yes.
Ashley wanted to find out, then Ashley called in the moratorium on visas.
Yes, I don't know about it. That's why I'm saying it's a US thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that US has got a moratorium on visa. I must confess, I'm hearing for the first time. Nobody ever brought this to our attention.
Right.
As I'm saying, it's a US thing. It's not our thing. I don't know why they should have moratorium on visas. That's why I said Ashley must leave his
contact details.
Yeah, so that we will go to the US Embassy and find out what's going on.
All right. And then Leslie from Northcliffe, the issue that's got to do with the changing of his surname.
Yes. I'm not very sure why it's taking such a long time, why it's a problem, but he too must give us our details. Obviously, I'm worried about the years he has mentioned, but it's not something that we can do within 13 days like when we give an ordinary ID, because here is changing his identity.
Right.
And we want to make very clear a change of identity. It's not a very easy thing under Home Affairs, but we still want to know why so long, because he's talking about 2016, it's almost 3 years. Surely they should have told him no, or they are going on and give reasons if they say no and go on if they say yes. So I want to get the details because we want to go back to him.
Right.
But he mustn't believe it will be like taking an ordinary ID. It's a little bit more involving.
Right. Thandi, where we're coming to you now. Hold on a bit, Thandi, where we're going to come to you now. Let me just give the minister this question coming from YouTube. It's Ajay Danso. Ajay Danso wants to find out, when are foreigners who have citizenship in South Africa also be allowed to apply for the ID card?
When you are a foreign, sorry, just come again.
He wants citizens, foreigners
who are citizens
who are now having a citizenship.
But if you are a citizen of a country, you get everything that citizens get.
Yes. So there you go, Ajay Dansando.
As far as I know, because why are they giving citizenship? The only thing they don't do is they are not. I mean, you are not allowed to vote if you are not a citizen of a particular country.
It could be that this question, Minister, it could be, and I'm not saying that's the case, but as I read it, in fact, now as well, it could be that one wants to ask, when are foreigners going to be allowed to have
a vote?
No IDs to start with.
But we give them IDs. They do get IDs once. Yes, they do get green barcoded IDs.
Yeah.
Yes, because they are. I mean, once you have applied for citizenship, you get what citizens are getting, and a green barcoded ID is given to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because the smart ID is new. There's a process, you know.
K Muhora, as we have spoken now earlier, Minister, there's one particular listener that called in and saying the answer that they got given was the fact that there's a backlog. Now, this next...
About what?
Of the application of visas.
In the U.S.?
Here in the country. So now this listeners actually...
but when you applying for a visa to the US or to South,
they don't specify. They're just saying, what is the department going to do in clearing the visa application backlog from 2019?
From which country? Because
they don't specify, unfortunately.
Now I can't understand it. We don't have the visa. It depends which country you applied from. It depends which regime if we given that. So when you just say there's a visa backlog, I told you there are countries where you go visa free. There are countries where giving a visa is just a matter of hours and days. So I'm not sure what he's talking about.
All right, let's take 3 last callers. All right, 3 last callers, and we're going to wrap up. Minister's got to head on out of here. There's a flight that's waiting for him. Let's take Tandiwe from Midrand. Tandiwe?
Okay, thank you, Graham, for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Minister. Good evening, Graham.
Good evening, Tandiwe.
Minister, I've got a problem.
Yeah.
In 2016, I applied to change the surname of my 2 kids. And the other one at that time was 2 years, and the other one at that time was about 9. So the one that, and then I was told it takes 6 months to change
They said what?
It takes 6 months.
Yeah.
Within that period of 6 months, the 9-year-old one, the surname was changed. Then I tried to follow it up, I think 9 months later, with the other one. That was in January 2016. Then I followed up with the one that was 2 years old. Now that one is 5 years old. So I followed it up, and then they gave me a number, the call center number to call to follow it up. Then you keep on following up, then you're being asked, okay, call again in 14 days, and then I keep on doing that.
The
call center number?
What is the call center number that you got given, Tandiwe?
Told me, no, I must come back again. It's still in process. I went back in April. It's still in process until last week, where I went in and the lady tells me, no, they captured my ex-wife's date of birth as my marriage date.
Okay.
So that was the issue. Now,
let me understand, Unati.
Yes,
you divorced?
Sorry, I missed it?
Have you divorced?
Yes, I have.
So you are single. So when you say you are applying for single status, you mean you are changing your status in some documents. Which document is that?
So on my profile,
you are single, by the way.
Married to that wife, but now I have got married again to a new woman, but it still shows my previous marriage as the person I'm married to.
Because the judge granted you a divorce, isn't it?
So the divorce, I didn't do it in South Africa. I actually did the divorce overseas because it was going to take too long in South Africa. So I went overseas to go and do it. So all I need is just to clear my name as a single status so I can register my new wife as my wife, not the previous.
Yes, look, we'll get the details, but this is very complex. Because it might be that the rules under which you are granted divorce in that other country don't apply to South Africa. So we'll still get the details. I mean, you say it was going to take time in South Africa. You went to another country where the regime is quite different. Now you are coming back to South Africa to impose what? Yes.
It was the time and the cost. You know, overseas I could do it online. I didn't have to go and stand in front of magistrate court because it was a mutual contract where we just both decided to do it, and it was going to be easy just to do it like that. So all it is, I just need a single status so that I can register my new marriage. That's
all right.
it.
You will agree with me, it's quite complex. This one is not one that we can, it will take time.
100%. Yeah. Hence why I waited for all this long. But when you think of when I applied to where we are now, I'm willing to wait, but I'm just saying, you know, to me it was, can you not just phone the person and tell him, they've got my details, this is a mistake that was made, that's why you haven't got it. Then we go and fix it. But be as it may, it is what it is. Last one, short one. Minister, what are we doing about going to a Home Affairs and you get that they tell us the systems are done, the lands are done? When are we going to start penalizing the service providers that are getting paid on a day-to-day basis but not delivering the service to the department? I'll listen on the radio.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Unati, for calling in.
Yeah, he's right. And I said it there in Parliament today during the debate. It's not service providers, it's SETA, which unfortunately is a State Information Technology Agency. We are all complaining about SETA. Whether you are in health, whether you are in education, whether you are in Home Affairs, about broadband, we are really begging them to do something about it. And fortunately, in the last cabinet, every minister was up in arms about this issue of SETA. Yes, it disappoints us at wrong times.
Is there direction in terms of what is going to be done? Or was there something that was spoken?
Yes, they instructed the Minister, especially of Communication, to do something about this SETA, because every department believes they can't deliver because of SETA.
Right.
Yes.
Minister, I would have loved us to have more time. Perhaps we should schedule another interview with you. It will be nice to have you, and we'll expand on this. Unfortunately, that plane's engines have been started. The only person that's what they're waiting for is yourself. So let's release you for now.
Getting all these problems and solving them is very essential for us.
Right.
So I'd like to come again, because you can imagine the number of problems that already arose which he never knew about.
All right. So here's the minister's word saying that he will make time. Unfortunately, we have another schedule that he's got to respond to for this evening, and we're going to let him go for now. Minister, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming in. There we go. Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi with us in the studio and leaving us for the evening. And we didn't really go into the gist of most of the things that we would like to speak about, but Minister is promising us that he will get his people to schedule yet another broadcast for us where we can engage with him on this platform. Thank you so much to everybody that's taken time to call in. Those people that we have said, I know it's quite worrying for people to hear the minister saying that no, we'll take your numbers and call you back. I promise you this, all right? We will definitely call you back. In fact, I'll tell you this, when Minister Motsoaledi says he will call people back, he will. He's done that the last time he was here. All right, so what we're going to do, if you're one of those that we've promised to call back, we've got your details down. We will definitely get some of our colleagues from the Department of Home Affairs to give you a call back, and that report will be given to the minister. Let me say thank you so much to all the radio stations that have joined us this evening. We really appreciate it, and I would like to thank the absolutely amazing team that's made this program possible for us to make it. That's Mfundo Magaba. Mfundo is on telecommunications as well as sound engineering this evening. He's done an absolutely amazing job. We've got a number of colleagues coming from the Department of Home Affairs that are here and that have been monitoring social media, all those questions that have been coming from social media. The likes of Bo Bratabo there, Bobra Joseph have been here as well, Joe Lakay has been here as well. Those guys have done an absolutely amazing job. Gentlemen, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. You've been watching this being streamed live on the Government ZA platform, and that was made possible by Video Unit, and heading that up this evening, it's a Pule Mahamose. We call him PJ, and PJ was responsible for the images that you saw on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Stogolana Saba Pedin Matebele, that's me. Ke Stogolana Satate, by the way. Let me say thank you so much to you for having taken time to be part of this broadcast. Until we meet again the next time, it's ciao for now. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We really appreciate it.